Welcome broken to bold. Emma discovered her boyfriend's betrayal and her heart shattered. But instead of breaking, she focused on herself and rebuilt her life. When she finally faced him, she stood confident and victorious, proving the best revenge is success, self-love, and unstoppable empowerment. Let's start to the story. Please follow my Chanel. Betrayal, heartbreak, and planning fully expanded. Emma had always believed in love. She thought she had found her forever. The one person who would laugh with her through all of life's ups and downs. 2 years of late-night calls, spontaneous weekend trips, and shared dreams seemed perfect. She remembered the first time they met, laughing over spilled coffee at a small cafe. That day had felt magical, like the universe had finally given her someone she could trust completely. She loved deeply, and she had believed that love would last forever. Until one evening, everything shattered. Emma was scrolling through her phone, casually checking messages, when she noticed his device left unlocked on the counter. Curiosity struck her like lightning. She opened it, and there it was, the messages that would change everything. Flirty, secretive, careless words between him and another girl. Phrases like, "Don't tell Emma, and she'll never know," danced across the screen. Emma's heart froze. Her vision blurred. Disbelief, anger, sadness, and betrayal collided all at once. It was like being hit by a storm she had never anticipated. Every memory of laughter, late-night calls, and promises now felt tainted. And the realization that the man she loved had been lying to her cut deeper than any blade. For a moment, she wanted to scream. She wanted to run, to confront him, to cry endlessly. But Emma paused. She took a deep breath, letting the storm inside her settle into sharp clarity. Her mind whispered, "I will not let him destroy me. He will regret this." The next days were the hardest. Emma found herself walking through her apartment, clutching her chest as memories flooded her mind. She looked at old photographs, their first vacation together, the silly selfies, the letters he had written her when he was away. Each one hurt, but also reminded her of what she deserved. She knew she could not react in the heat of anger. That would only give him power over her. She needed a plan. She needed to reclaim herself before she confronted him. Emma reached out to her closest friends. She shared the betrayal with them, tears spilling at first, then slowly giving way to determination. They encouraged her, reminded her of her worth, and helped her see that the best way to take control was through herself. They brainstormed steps-proof gathering, personal improvement, self-care, and ultimately a silent, unstoppable comeback. She started documenting everything, screenshots, not out of spite, but to have clarity and power in case confrontation became necessary. But her focus was not revenge and anger, it was building her own life, one step at a time. She made lists of goals: fitness, career, personal growth, skills she had postponed, hobbies she loved. She journaled her emotions, sometimes crying on paper, sometimes writing affirmations to bolster herself. "I am stronger than this. I am unstoppable. I will not let anyone define my happiness." Emma began small. Each morning she awoke before sunrise. She ran through the quiet streets, the city still asleep, the chilly air filling her lungs, reminding her she was alive. The first day she barely ran half a mile. Her legs burned, her body begged her to stop. But she didn't. She pushed a little farther each day. She lifted weights, did yoga, meditated. The pain of the workouts became a metaphor for the pain she felt inside. Each drop of sweat, each aching muscle, was a step toward reclaiming her power. She also focused on her mind. She enrolled in online courses she had long postponed, learned editing skills, created social media accounts for personal projects, and practiced public speaking in front of mirrors. Nights were spent learning, failing, retrying, and celebrating small victories. In parallel, she worked on her personal style. Her wardrobe evolved from comfortable but uninspired outfits to ones that reflected confidence and elegance. Every morning, she looked in the mirror and saw progress, not just physically, but emotionally, her posture changed. Her walk grew more confident. Her smile radiated strength. Emma kept herself busy, but also reflective. Late at night, she sometimes allowed herself a quiet tear, acknowledging the pain, but she never let it consume her. Each morning, she woke renewed, reminding herself, "I am the author of my story, not the character he betrayed." Weeks passed. Her apartment, once cluttered with reminders of heartbreak, now reflected her transformation. Organized, inspiring, and full of energy, she created vision boards, set milestones, and celebrated each achievement, even minor ones. Her friends noticed the change. They commented on her glow, her newfound calm, and the energy she radiated. They were proud. Emma felt proud. For the first time, her happiness didn't depend on anyone else. It came from within. By now, Emma had built a strong foundation, not only for a potential confrontation, but for a life that no one could undermine. She was ready to rise, and when the time came, her strength would speak louder than any words. Transformation and rise to success fully expanded. Emma's mornings began before the sun had even risen. The alarm would buzz softly, and she would slip on her running shoes, heart ready to push through the fatigue. The first few runs were brutal. Her legs ached, lungs burned, and every step felt heavier than the last. But each step was also a declaration. She was reclaiming her life. She ran through the quiet streets. The city bathed in soft twilight, and each stride felt like freedom. After her runs, she moved to strength training. Dumbbells clinked, muscles burned, sweat poured, and Emma smiled. She reminded herself, "This is my body, strong, resilient." Yoga and meditation followed. Each deep breath centered her, eased the storm inside her, and reminded her that her mind, like her body, could be trained, disciplined, and strengthened. Her self-transformation was not only physical. She dedicated hours to her career and education. Emma signed up for online courses, tutorials, and workshops, editing videos, designing content, learning social media strategies. Everything became part of her daily ritual. She stayed up late at night, her room lit by the soft glow of a laptop, experimenting, failing, retrying, perfecting. Every mistake became a stepping stone, every small success a spark of motivation. She also nurtured her hobbies, revisiting passions she had abandoned in the haze of her relationship. Painting, writing, photography. Each creative outlet allowed her to express her emotions, process the pain, and fuel her sense of independence. Emma found joy in small achievements: a beautifully edited video, a perfectly painted canvas, a short story she finally finished. Her style evolved alongside her personality. The cozy, safe outfits she had once worn were replaced with bold, expressive clothing that mirrored her newfound confidence. She experimented with colors, patterns, and textures. Each morning, she looked in the mirror and recognized the reflection of someone she was proud to be. Her posture straightened, her smile grew brighter, and her presence demanded attention, not arrogance but self-assurance. Friends began noticing the change. Compliments flowed. "You look amazing. There's something different about you. You're glowing." Emma received these not for vanity, but as validation that her inner transformation was visible, tangible. She felt empowered, unstoppable, independent. Meanwhile, Emma worked on building her professional life. She launched a small business idea she had nurtured quietly. During her nights of reflection and planning, orders trickled in at first, then steadily grew. Clients praised her work, her social media following increased, and opportunities she had never imagined began knocking on her door. Brands reached out, collaborations formed, and Emma's confidence in her abilities soared. She felt a rush of pride every time she saw her efforts transform into tangible results. She continued documenting everything, not for anyone else, but for herself. Journals filled with goals, plans, and reflections, spreadsheets tracking progress and milestones. Emma realized that her growth wasn't just in success, but in her mindset. She became strategic, focused, and resilient. Setbacks were no longer devastating, they were challenges to overcome. Socially, Emma began rediscovering herself. She met new people, rekindled old friendships, and built connections that aligned with her values. Parties, gatherings, and casual coffee dates became moments to observe her evolution. She noticed how her presence now commanded respect and attention. The girl who once cried in a corner of a cafe had transformed into a confident woman who walked into rooms with grace, poise, and undeniable strength. Internal monologue, Emma. I rebuilt myself, not for him, not for anyone else. I did this for me. Every tear, every ache, every sleepless night. It was worth it. I am no longer defined by heartbreak. I am defined by my resilience. Her transformation reached a turning point when she realized that the best revenge wasn't in confrontation, it was in thriving. The world could see her strength, her independence, and nothing anyone could say or do would diminish that. Montages during this period could include Emma packing orders for her small business, checking them off meticulously, late-night video editing sessions, a smile breaking as a project is completed perfectly, working out in early morning light, sweat glistening, determination in every motion, social media notifications rolling in, praise and encouragement from strangers and friends alike. With each passing day, Emma felt lighter. The anger that had once consumed her had been replaced by focus, the sadness replaced by determination, the disbelief replaced by clarity. By the end of this phase, Emma was no longer the girl who had stumbled upon a betrayal. She was a woman who had faced heartbreak, processed it, and risen above it stronger, wiser, and unstoppable. Revenge and empowered ending fully expanded. After months of rebuilding herself, Emma felt a quiet confidence settle into her bones. She had transformed physically, mentally, emotionally, and every day had strengthened her resolve. Her friends had supported her throughout, celebrating her victories and encouraging her through setbacks, yet she knew the final act of closure had to come from her own choice. One evening she invited him over, under the pretense of talking things out. He arrived, confident, smug, certain that he still held some power over her. But Emma was calm, collected, radiating an aura of strength that was impossible to ignore. The girl who had cried in a cafe, heartbroken and trembling, was gone. In her place stood a woman transformed, resilient, composed, and untouchable. She led him to the living room, her laptop open, her friends discreetly seated behind her, silently supporting her. She smiled politely. A subtle curve of lips. Emma, I'm glad you came. He smirked, assuming he would see remorse, perhaps tears, perhaps begging. Instead, he found Emma confident, calm, and in complete control. Emma opened her laptop and, one by one, displayed all the evidence, the screenshots, messages, call logs. His confident smirk faltered. His posture stiffened. A flicker of horror passed across his face. He tried to explain, to excuse, to defend himself, but Emma held up her hand. Emma, it's too late for excuses. This is what you chose, and this is your regret. Her friends watched silently, their eyes supportive, their presence reinforcing the power of Emma's stance. There were no tears, no shouting, no dramatic displays of anger, just calm, unwavering strength. Every word, every glance, every breath emanated control, power, and clarity. Internal monologue, Emma, I could have yelled. I could have cried. I could have begged him to understand. But none of that would give me the victory I've earned. True power is quiet, unseen by those who betrayed you, yet undeniable in its presence. The atmosphere was tense. He searched her eyes, but all he found was empowerment, independence, and self-respect. His attempts at excuses faded into silence as he realized that the person he had underestimated was no longer vulnerable. Emma didn't gloat. She didn't revel in humiliation. She simply closed the laptop, smiled, and stood tall. Every movement radiated confidence. Every glance, calm authority. Emma, I'm not the same girl you left, and you're not the man I want anymore. She turned, walked past him, and out the door. Each step was deliberate, symbolic, a declaration of her independence, her strength, and her triumph over betrayal. He remained frozen, staring, realizing the depth of his loss far too late. Montage visual cues for voiceover and cinematic depiction. Emma walking down a softly lit city street at sunset, her silhouette bathed in golden light, friends watching proudly from a distance, their smiles quiet but full of admiration. Emma laughing freely in a cafe days later, surrounded by new friends, immersed in joy and freedom. Social media notifications, business successes, and personal achievements rolling past, symbolizing her unstoppable rise. Weeks passed, and Emma's life blossomed further. She started her own business, met new people, and fully reclaimed her happiness. He attempted to contact her again, apologies and regrets pouring out through messages and calls. But Emma did not respond. She had already moved on. Her focus was now entirely on herself, her goals, and the people who truly valued her. Internal monologue. Emma, the best revenge isn't to hurt someone. The best revenge is to heal, rise, and thrive beyond their reach. My happiness cannot be taken, it belongs only to me. The final scene captures Emma standing at a scenic overlook, sunlight glinting through her hair. She smiles, serene, empowered, untouchable. The camera pans out to show the city she walks through every day, bustling yet serene, reflecting the new life she has built from the ashes of heartbreak.